I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but when I was a kid, I was obsessed with the Magic Bullet infomercials. Like if I was channel surfing and I saw the Magic Bullet commercial on, I would go to watch it every single time. So like as an adult who will literally do anything to get his sense of childlike wonder back, I've been rewatching the Magic Bullet commercials, and I didn't realize that these commercials contain like a cinematic universe of characters. Like by the end of this video, I will have connected each character to one of the 7 sins. Like there's a recurring character in these commercials who just like hates her husband. Why? How is that gonna sell a blender? Good question. We're also gonna be watching all of them. We're gonna be watching the original Magic Bullet, the Bullet Express, and the third one.
Hey, how you feeling this morning? Look who's coming!
Good morning, Berman.
God, not so loud.
And this is what I mean when I say these commercials have a cinematic universe. It took us 9 seconds and we've already established that Berman is an alcoholic. Like, let's use the context clues. Presumably, everybody in this room was at the same barbecue last night. You also very quickly realize how long it takes for time to pass in the world of the Magic Bullet. They are truly in hell.
And just watch. It takes about 3, 4, 5 seconds.
Okay, I thought I was gonna have this big gotcha moment. That was actually just 6 seconds. But I know for a fact that this smoothie does not come out that well because I've owned a Magic Bullet. I convinced my parents that we needed a Magic Bullet, and turns out what they needed was less children. And yeah, no, it would do a great job of blending everything at the very bottom of the cup before you had to take it out of the base, shake it around for like 30 more seconds, and then blend it for another 5 minutes.
A beautiful mixed berry smoothie in less time than it takes you to say it. Look at that.
Mixed berry smoothie. That took me 1.8 seconds to say. It is also worth mentioning that if you want to accomplish the things that they're doing in this commercial, you're going to need about 9 Magic Bullets and 15 electrical outlets in the same kitchen island. So after making a mixed berry smoothie and an omelet using the same device, we then move on to coffee, in which one of Mick's friends gets hilariously shut the fuck down.
Coffee?
Where's your coffee grinder? I'll help.
Oh, sit down and relax.
After making a couple of breakfast items, we get to meet my favorite character in the history of the Magic Bullet cinematic universe, Hazel.
Did somebody say muffins?
Yes, we did, Hazel.
Now, Hazel, for all intents and purposes, looks like somebody they found on the street outside of the studio. Like, there are very few people I would allow to call me slurs. And it begs the question, how the fuck is this selling a blender?
You just blended a bunch of smoothies, you whipped up an omelet, you ground coffee, and you mixed up 2 different types of muffin batter in that thing. What the heck is it?
A blender. It's a blender.
Wow, that's a lot easier to use than all the appliance contraptions we got for wedding gifts.
I'm sorry. Appliance contraptions? Like a food processor? Like a blender? Appliance contraption. You look like you are in your late 40s. Appliance contraptions. There are kids on MasterChef Junior who know how to use all of these things and a Japanese chef's knife.
That's right. And look at this. Unlike these complicated machines, yeah, that are so big and clumsy, they just end up living in the back of the cupboard.
Yeah, again, one of the most prominent things that they show in that cupboard is a food processor, which is like one extra step.
The Magic Bullet takes up no more room on your countertop, look at that, than a regular-sized coffee mug.
See, this is the whole coffee mug thing is a claim that bothers me. See, we don't talk about the space it takes to accommodate for a cable. When you include the cable, it is taking up about as much space as this broken-ass TV behind me. It's also not really broken. I just can't play any of my VHS tapes on it. I think I get copyrighted for that. And we are monetized, baby.
What is the worst job you have to do in the kitchen?
And almost every meal starts with it.
Chopping garlic.
Stinky, nasty garlic. They go on to demonstrate Hazel's most hated kitchen task of chopping garlic, and then they make this claim.
And in less time than it takes to get out a cutting board and a knife, you've got freshly chopped garlic.
So you're gonna chop the garlic now? Okay, let me just go get a knife and a cutting board. This is also a woman who's claiming that chopping garlic stinks while smoking a cigarette indoors. Like, Hazel, maybe you need to stop and consider the idea that you fucking stink. She probably smells absolutely nasty. They also demonstrate cutting onions, but they fail to mention that you need the smallest onions in the world. You might be thinking, oh, Varman, they could just get a regular onion and cut it smaller, which would involve a cutting board and a knife, which, as we've established earlier, will take you 9 days. After the onions, Mick shows us his favorite thing to make in the Magic Bullet, which is salsa. I'm not a Mexican chef, but I know damn well that that is the nastiest salsa I've ever seen. Hazel might as well ash her cigarette into that shit. That is, like, if I Google gourmet chicken salad, it sure as hell does not look like this. I haven't even Googled it yet. I'm still filming the video. I just know. The gang then moves on to make a dinner of fettuccine alfredo because, in Hazel's words, dinner's always a production. I feel like if those two Italian brothers from TikTok saw this fettuccine alfredo, they would walk into the sea. It's also crazy that they've made breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and if the Magic Bullet is as quick as they claim it is, it's like 9:30. Like, they've basically just made breakfast and 15 courses of cold leftovers for later. They also decide to grate some fresh Parmesan by using the Magic Bullet and shaking it onto the pasta using the patent-pending shaker top. And you can see it on camera how awful this thing is at shaking Parmesan onto. This would piss me off so easily. Granted, I have a short fuse. That's what sobriety will do to you kids, but that's potentially another video. And again, we keep up with this theme of time moving at a tortoise's pace in the Magic Bullet universe. One of the women says,
Takes me longer than that to make the phone call to order a pizza.
on what planet do any of these recipes take less time than ordering a pizza? Unless you're having salsa for dinner. They also move on to dessert and decide to make a chocolate mousse, which is just whipped cream and chocolate syrup. I've said this multiple times throughout the video. I'm no chef, but like, I'm pretty sure chocolate mousse has like eggs in it or something that allows it to hold its volume. This is just chocolate whipping cream, which, by the way, I've made this too as someone who used to own a Magic Bullet, and it tastes good. This one kind of slaps. They kind of went off with this one. They also have the audacity to say that they have made breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinner, and dessert without dirtying up a single pot or pan.
In a matter of minutes, we made breakfast, 2 different kinds of muffins, a 6-second lunch, snacks, 2 completely different pasta dishes, and 2 completely different desserts. All in like what, the last 10 minutes or so?
And all without dirtying a single pot or pan.
As if they haven't dirtied up 15 plates and 70 Magic Bullets. Now, granted, as someone who used to own one of these, they were pretty easy to clean, unless one of your like brown family members starts grinding up curry powder inside of it, at which point it'll smell for years and you will never be able to make anything except kind of finer curry powder in it, therefore after. And by the way, as if making all of those meals and snacks wasn't enough,
But the bullet fast magic that we like best,
Frozen drinks now.
let's make some frozen alcoholic beverages, even though Bourbon is a functioning addict. Like, the guy's still hungover and he just had coffee. Now, after dinner is done, we move on to the bullet extensions, which are, in effect, add-ons to the original Magic Bullet, one of which is just a blender, in spite of the fact that all those kitchen contraptions you got at your wedding were given to you by bad faith actors who hope your marriage fails, and that the Magic Bullet doesn't take up any more counter space than a small mouse who died last year. Let's just add on a blender. Like, even though this whole thing is a blender, I think we are done with the first commercial. Also, I'm lying down because my legs are exhausted and I think I've been standing up for like 20 minutes. Now, what's funny is the infomercial itself was actually pretty revolutionary as far as infomercials are concerned. Like, when you think of infomercials, you think of stuff like the Slap Chop or of the ShamWow or OxyClean or Mighty Putty, where they're basically standing talking to you in basically the same way I'm doing right now. But you don't really see commercials like the Magic Bullet where it's almost like a sitcom setup. Each guest is meant to represent a specific personality type. For example, Mick and Mimi are lust, Berman is sloth, Hazel is clearly wrath, and the rest of their friends are gluttony. Also, apparently, and I'm learning this right now, there was a scandal where magic bullets were just exploding. So now we've moved on to the Bullet Express, which is basically a magic bullet that you can take outdoors. And they've decidedly continued the canon. I heard both of my knees crack right there. Now, for some reason, at the very beginning of this commercial, Berman is livid.
What are you gonna make a smoothie with? Your magic bullet?
I'm led to believe it's because he was removed from his substance of choice, alcohol, and as a result, he's having struggle coping with his newfound sobriety. Now we get to the point where we have to discuss this woman who hates her husband.
I don't understand. That's an electrical appliance.
Just let them go.
Now, she's the same woman from the last commercial who calls them kitchen contraptions, but notably, she's not with the man she was with. She is in an unhappy second marriage with a man who, frankly, looks like a beta male. I'm not one to subscribe to alpha male terminology. In fact, my beard doesn't connect quite enough for me to make the case that I have adequate levels of T. But like, this dude looks like a soy boy. I hate to be the one to say it, but it's the truth. I don't care how liberal you are. You look at that man and tell me he's not a soy boy. And again, we are not 2 minutes into the second commercial, and she's already expressing some serious contempt for her husband. They also begin to demonstrate the Magic Bullet Express, which, believe it or not, does not need a cable. And then again, all these adults who look like they're in their late 40s act like they've never seen a battery-operated appliance before in their life.
Sure, Mick, but where are you gonna...
They react the same way a Victorian-era child would react to me showing him this YouTube video on my iPhone. We also get some of the best line delivery from the soy boy husband I've ever seen in my life.
Whoa, that is magic.
They then move on to making an omelet where, again, this woman shows nothing but contempt for her husband.
What would you like in your omelet, Dino?
He likes a Denver omelet.
Okay, well then I'm going to start with a couple of eggs, some ham, a little bit of onion.
Yes, onion's fine.
Okay, great.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, girl, you picked him. If you don't like where you are in life right now, maybe you should have signed a prenup. And what's even more uncomfortable about it is that she's in front of her friend group. You have to really hate your partner to be that open about it in front of your friends in an environment where none of them can leave. They are in the forest. We then get Berman asking if the Magic Bullet Express can make a decent cup of coffee.
Can that thing make me a decent cup of coffee?
And like, what the fuck do you think, Berman? What do you think? Like, you have the knowledge that it's the Magic Bullet with a battery, and the Magic Bullet without a battery could make a cup of coffee. So why don't you do the math, Berman, you fucking drunk? Now, as I'm watching the rest of this commercial, I'm realizing that everybody's bringing their A game as far as line delivery is concerned.
Fresh ground coffee in the middle of nowhere. Now that's pretty cool.
They also make a frozen mocha coffee drink, which they say is better than the stuff you get in the big chain shops, even though it is visibly the chunkiest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. We also get the most unnecessary plot point in a Magic Bullet commercial. We have the return of Hazel, and the funny part is that nobody knows how she got into the tent that she was in.
Omelet? That's not camping food. Flapjacks. Now that's a hearty breakfast.
Hazel, when did you get here?
At which point it's revealed
Thanks for the socks, big boy. Move it, sweetheart. Oh.
she fucked Berman. Why? Also, in the saga of the woman who hates her soy boy husband, we get a very damning detail.
And Tina, I know that you like your pancakes with fresh blueberries, so I went out this morning and I picked some for you.
Thank you.
So you mean to tell me that Mick woke up early, on a camping trip just to pick fresh blueberries for this woman. These two are bumping uglies. These two are looking each other in the eyes while they make nick. Like, I could go on Reddit and type everything I just saw into r/am I overreacting, and everyone on that subreddit would tell me I'm not overreacting. We also then can't help but wonder, are Mick and Mimi in a sexless marriage, or are they in a marriage that has, in fact, a lot more sex than most marriages do, in the form of swinging, of course. They also do the in less time it takes to get a cutting board and a knife thing again, but this time they have Mimi go and get a cutting board and a knife, which she does.
And just press down for 1, 2, 3 seconds.
And in less time than it takes to get a cutting board and a knife.
After he's done blending the garlic. And yeah, for the rest of the commercial, they basically do everything they did in the first commercial, except this time there's just a lot more of a wife in a loveless marriage, like a fucking art house film. Like, this guy can't eat chocolate mousse without his wife giving him shit for it. Like, they give her husband chocolate mousse, and she looks at them like, really? We're giving him chocolate mousse? Okay. Mick would never eat chocolate mousse in the forest. We are now in the victory stretch and at the final Magic Bullet commercial. So in this new Magic Bullet commercial, we have some of our favorite people, obviously Mick and Mimi, Berman, but we're missing one curious cigarette-holding figure, Hazel, who has been like split into two different old ladies. It also appears that Berman has cleaned up his life and found himself a little lady. Who would have thought, out of all of the contemptuous, lustful, sin-ridden marriages in a Magic Bullet commercial, it would be Berman who ends up having it made. I would love to congratulate Berman on his sobriety. That really is a big thing for a big guy. A weird part about this commercial is that they call Berman Ralph.
Ralph, you still like pizza, right?
Clearly.
Which is probably something I should have noticed before I congratulated Berman on his sobriety. They look like the exact same actor. I don't know why they would have changed characters. So this is going to be the canon, all right? This is going to be the canon of the Magic Bullet commercials. Berman's middle name is Ralph. And when they called him Berman, he was doing awful stuff like getting way too drunk at social events and fucking Hazel. As a result of that, it became super awkward for Hazel to show her face in front of the group. Either that or she died of lung cancer. Both are equally feasible, if not possible. After Hazel's expulsion from the group, lung cancer diagnosis, and death, it was a wake-up call for Berman that he needed to get his life together, considering how finite things can really be on this earth. So he decided to clean up his act, get sober, and start using the name Ralph, which was his middle name. So now, instead of Berman, we have Ralph. Now, if I can just get one of the original writers of a Magic Bullet commercial to tell me that this is in fact canon, then I will add it to the Wikipedia page myself. They also decided to make a pepperoni pizza by just chopping up loose tomatoes and then adding cheese and pepperoni. Not how a pepperoni pizza works. Believe it or not, the point of cooking a sauce is to take out the incredible amounts of water present in tomatoes. Water that will just leach onto your nasty pizza dough, creating what is probably a deeply upsetting affair on a plate. Granted, nobody in a Magic Bullet commercial is a stranger to a deeply upsetting affair. That was good. You at the very least have to like this video for that one. I'm in minute 50 of filming, and I came up with that gold. That's got to be worth something. It does appear that they have dropped some of their more toxic friends. In fact, the woman who Mick was definitely having an affair with is no longer present, in spite of her being in the first two commercials. I feel like I can only assume that that camping trip really changed the fabric of this group. Because in the woods, there is nowhere to hide, and as a result, there was nowhere for Mick to run from the affair he was very clearly having, picking fresh blueberries for another woman. And I feel like Mimi, I sound drunk right now. I've been sober for 2 years. I need everyone to know that. I feel like Mimi made Mick an ultimatum saying, if you ever wake up early to get her fresh blueberries ever again, I'm leaving and I'm not turning around. He decided, you know what? Maybe it's just not healthy for us to be around these people anymore. Maybe it's time for us to get a healthier group of friends who all have happier marriages. It's just clear that Hazel's death affected everyone. Death changes people, and grief is a very complicated thing. I feel like over the course of 3 commercials, they've kind of become like my friends. And like, I just really, I can't believe I'm doing this on camera, but it's like, I just feel like I got to know them like really well in the span of 3 commercials. And like, I care about these guys. Like, I don't want to see them fight, you know? And like, ever since Hazel died, I can tell that like things have just not been the same. I'd be lying if I said that Berman's drinking didn't affect me. You know, so like to see them like bounce back from something so hard into like becoming like what are genuinely like the best versions of themselves, that just means a lot to me as someone who like really loves and cares about them. And I'm just so proud of them.
I think the pizza's ready.
There we go.
I'm fine on the pizza, by the way. It doesn't look good. It looks really watery. But like, I love you guys and I'm proud of you guys. Please get the pizza away from me, Mimi. That looks disgusting. They also say that the Bullet Express takes up less space than a bulky food processor.
Takes up no more room on your countertop than an ordinary 2-slice toaster, unlike those big bulky processors you have at home.
It's a food processor, my man. It is literally just, if anything, it takes up more space. That base is huge. And I'm not gonna lie, the food in this commercial is easily the best looking out of everything they've made in every other commercial. But they just lose so much magic with the lack of Hazel. The old ladies, God bless them, they just don't hold a candle. We get one good moment from like Granny, the really old lady.
I use a hand mixer for cheesecake. It's a pain in the...
As I was saying...
But like, it just doesn't stack up. It doesn't hit me where I live the way that Hazel did. We also get the 3rd and final installment of it takes less time than it would to find a cutting board and a knife. And at this point, they've got Ralph's dumbass to do this task.
I got it.
We're going to need a chopping board as well, Ralph. It's just over there.
And believe it or not, he takes a very long time to find a cutting board and a knife. Granted, this is not fair because this is not his kitchen. So like, I can't really talk that much smack. It would take me years to do that. Like, I could start finding that cutting board and knife and like the Civil War could begin and end in that time. All right, I found the cutting board. Hey, the Confederate has fallen. And yeah, I'm not really going to say much else about the Magic Bullet Express commercial just because there isn't that much to say in comparison to the first 2. The first 2 read like a series of Bridgerton, whereas this one feels like I'm watching Leave It to Beaver. And when I started this video, I had an hour and 30 minutes on my SD card. Now I have 9 minutes left, which means I'm going to have a lot of editing to do if I don't wrap this up soon. So this has been my video on the Magic Bullet Cinematic Universe. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got this far in the video. If you did, kudos to you. That's pretty Herculean if I say so myself. Let me know what other weird media you want me to talk about in my next video. I am happy to take suggestions. Please leave a comment, like the video, subscribe if you enjoyed it. All that stuff helps the channel, and we're monetized, baby. I'm trying to get those dollar bills. Call a friend, drink some water, and be kind to yourself. That was beautiful. All right, bye.